Okay, good. I need your help with this. This was something that hit me over Shabbos, and I have no idea what to do with it. But it's really, really weird. We can try to think about it. There is a very odd obsession throughout the Yosef and his brothers story with donkeys. Like, really, really weird. The most striking one is where the brothers, when they realize there's a conspiracy against them, they say, oh no, this is a conspiracy against us. And they'll take us as slaves and our donkeys. Okay. But it keeps going, right? Later on, the pasuk says, "Hanashim sholchu hema v'chamareihem." They were sent home, them and their donkeys. And then you get asara chamarim nosim mituv Mitzrayim. When you talk about everything that they brought, it was carried on donkeys. And every time, it's like, their donkeys are laden with stuff. They open up you get this 10 times in the story. I was trying to find something. I just found a Kitsur on Hatanach.com by Moshe Cohen, where he just notes this, and he says it doesn't even end here. It keeps going until we leave Mitzrayim, where the mitzvah that we get as we're leaving Mitzrayim is Pidyon Peter Chamor, which Chazal are so bothered by. Why Pidyon Peter Chamor? Chazal assume that it must just have been that the Chamor were the animals that we used to leave Mitzrayim. So he just notes, okay, maybe the reason, he just says, okay, this is a case of Maseh Avot Siman Labanim, or Maseh Shvatim Siman Labanim in this case, and that's why donkeys are very, very intensely represented throughout the Yosef and his brother's story, and that's why they become this symbolic animal later on when they leave. And he says maybe this is part of it, that the Masavot Siman Lavanim is that when they first came to Mitzrayim, they were suspected of being spies, and what was the punishment going to be? Slavery. And therefore them coming with their animals becomes symbolic of the slavery, and therefore on their way out, first Paro refuses to send them with animals. Right? They want to go, and he says, you can go, but you can't go with your animals. Eventually lets them go with their animals, and then eventually they go and with their animals, and according to Nahum, the book Nahum, right? They go with particularly expensive donkeys. So maybe that's true, but it doesn't really answer the question. That just says there were donkeys in the first story, so then it becomes symbolic later on, and maybe they're connected. But why do the Psukim emphasize it so much? And you look through the classic Mefarshim, they don't pick up on this, definitely not in a systematic way. Like in certain places, the Ramban says on that most striking pasuk, which is, oh my God, they're going to take us, kill us, make us slaves, and our donkeys, where it's just anticlimactic. The Ramban says maybe what they're saying is not only will we die or become slaves, but the food that we've laden into our donkeys won't make it home, and our families will die too. And the donkeys throughout the story, if you extrapolate from the Ramban, are symbolic of the food, right? Meaning the emphasis here is that this whole story is not just about their life, which is hanging in the balance, but the donkeys represent their ability to support their family, to bring back the material. So it could be that that's the emphasis, to remind you that this story is not just about the people in the story, but that there's a whole group of people that are relying on them, and therefore the donkeys are constantly emphasized, because that's what they bring things to Mitzrayim with, the money and the bribes and whatever they need, with the intent of loading those up and bringing them back. And the fear constantly is that it's not really that people want to steal them or incriminate them, it's that this is a conspiracy because everyone needs food, and the conspiracy is all around food. So if you wanted to extrapolate from the Ramban, maybe that's what it is. I was talking to my friend Betzalel. He said maybe the issue here is not just the food, but is the fact that the chamor is at least in this story, the animal of choice for international travel. And therefore, when you talk about the chamor, it's like saying, look, not only will we be trapped, but our families won't know what happened to us. I mean, the chamor is how we got here. It was their telephone, right? If I have my chamor, I can get back home. If I don't have my chamor, I can't get back home. They'll take us as slaves, and they'll take away my cell phone, right? They'll take away my ability, but more importantly, that my family will never know. It'll just disappear, right? That it won't just be that they take us, but our animals, theoretically, right? They could have sent it back with a note, with a letter, right, by mail, and they won't let us do that. So that's maybe another possibility. We were just talking about it in shul because we were both bothered by this. I don't know if I have a good answer, but I want to at least raise the question and alert you to this phenomenon, because it's definitely, again, the most striking pasuk is that very bizarre pasuk where they are complaining that they are going to be enslaved and their animals. And again, I think part of the answer is what the Ramban says on that pasuk, though he doesn't say it systematically, which is that their family will die. So it could simply be that the chamor is symbolic of that. That right, this is all those people in the background who need the food that's on the chamor. Or it could be, right, again, Bezalel Pshat is similar, which is that it's not about the food per se, but simply the ability to travel and communicate. It means we're going to be cut off. No one will ever know what happened to us, because nothing will ever return, right? Our animals, which could have carried that message back, right? They won't get back. Something tells me that there's more to this. Again, if Moshe Cohen is right, that this significance of the chamor in the first half of the story is why they end up being the animals that you have to be podez zecher leitziat Mitzrayim, and as Chazal understand, because that's what took us out of Mitzrayim. There seems to be there has to be more to it than this, but I don't know what it is. So I'm leaving this as a question for you or anyone listening. If you have a better shot, one of my friends noted on Shabbos that to fully understand it, you have to know that there is a similar phenomenon with Yaakov, that all Yaakov stories also have an animal attached to them, but not the chamor, but the tson. Everything about Ad Kedei Kach, that his beloved wife is Rachel, which just means a female, right? Like a lamb, right? That just means a lamb, right? Meaning his whole life is about tson. You got to figure out why, right? Why that fits into the story all the time. I don't have an answer for that either, but it's interesting to know that it's hard to deny this phenomenon. So again, I've thrown out 2 possibilities, I don't know, of why this is the case. Based on this short article, Rosh Hashanah pointed out that it doesn't end here. It goes all the way through Yetziat Mitzrayim, which only emphasizes the importance of this. But if you have a better pshat as to why this is here and so central to the story, think about it and let me know. I'm at a bit of a loss, even if I have the beginnings of directions, okay?